In the wake of one of Liverpool's more ragged performances of the season, it did not take long for Virgil van Dijk to regain his customary cool. Unusually for the Dutch defender, he appeared to lose his temper on more than one occasion during the draw with Manchester United. Not with an opponent, not with referee Michael Oliver, but with one or more of his teammates. And it was obvious that Trent Alexander-Arnold did not escape his captain's wrath. But after the England fullback's shocking performance brought criticism from all quarters, including a withering put-down from Roy Keane, Van Dijk quietly reminded Trent that his teammates have got his back. He said Trent has his own people around him, his family, and we are there as well. He wants to perform in the best way possible, like we all do. That is the main focus. In my opinion, maybe ask him, that is the distraction the game. Alexander-Arnold's display against United prompted Keane to joke, there's talk about him going to Real Madrid, he's going to Tranmere Rovers after this. Arneslot defended Alexander-Arnold, preferring to highlight the threat posed by Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Dalot. But radio phone-ins were jammed with Liverpool fans laying into Alexander-Arnold, whose poor display followed an approach by Real Madrid, who obviously expect to complete his signing at some stage. And while Van Dijk, who is also out of contract at the end of the season, was predictably diplomatic after the United match, it was significant that he appeared to call out Alexander-Arnold during the game. But Van Dijk hinted that his displeasure was directed at the team rather than any individual. He said we could and should have done better in having the ball, keeping it longer. We should have done better, especially after going 2-1 up. We were sloppy and let them come back. United came back into the game because of their quality, but we lost the ball too easily in difficult moments. Spaces became much bigger than they should have been. But Van Dijk also clearly believes assessments of United's predicament are too dire, saying we were playing against a good opponent. By the sound that had been going around before the game, I think everyone from the outside world forgets that. They have good players. They are obviously a work in progress, but they made it difficult for us. And considering Liverpool have a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League table, have won all their Champions League matches and are looking forward to a Carabao Cup semi-final, Van Dijk was not going to get too despondent about dropping a couple of points to United, saying in the end, it could have been a lot worse. We take a point. But we showed good things as well, resilience after going 1-0 down. So it was good things and less good things. We had to get up. Arneslot admitted Liverpool defender Trent Alexander-Arnold did not have his best game against Manchester United, but looked to defend the fullback. After a week of speculation over his future, including a bid from Real Madrid for his services, after entering the final 6 months of his contract at Anfield, Alexander-Arnold saw a difficult afternoon against the Red Devils. The England international saw United focus their attacks down his flank time and again, where they found success. After 45 minutes, former United captain Roy Keane savaged Alexander-Arnold's display. Trent Alexander-Arnold has been all over the place defensively, the pundit said. His defending has been schoolboy stuff. He's got to do better. They're talking about him going to Real Madrid. The way he's defending, he's going to Tranmere Rovers after this. Slot provided a calmer assessment, however. The Dutch boss revealed that midfielder Ryan Gravenberch should have provided greater support in some moments. The former Feyenoord coach also suggested the quality offered from Diogo Dalot and Bruno Fernandes is more than enough to explain Alexander-Arnold's difficulties. Trent has played mostly very good games for the club. Today was not his best game, but that had to do with them as well, explained Slot on Sky Sports. Sometimes Ryan Gravenberch was not close enough to him, so it was a 2-on-1 situation. I would put it more on the quality of Diogo Dalot and Bruno Fernandes. Slot was content with much of his side's performance, if not the result. The Dutchman suggested United's inclination to defend made them difficult to break down. We started really well, had 3 open chances in the game, and then there was a period of time which was more difficult for us, Slot told BBC Radio 5 Live. It is difficult if you play quality players that are playing in a low block with only Rasmus Højlund and Amad Diallo as attackers. It's not always easy to find the gaps, and that's what happened. Then, being 1-0 down makes it even more difficult, but I was very happy with the mentality we showed afterwards, going 2-1 up. People forget all the chances we had, Slot added. They had the open chance from Harry Maguire, We had much more chances than them, but in the end we could have definitely lost it with the Maguire chance. In what is the local skirmish with the worldwide interest, Liverpool can rarely have entered a game with Manchester United from such a place of superiority as they do this weekend. It's first against 14th at Anfield on Sunday, with the recently appointed Ruben Amarim fresh from a December from hell that saw his Red Devils lose as many as 6 times. A 2-1 victory in the Manchester derby aside, it was a sobering few weeks for the Portuguese coach, who has already admitted that job security is a pervading thought of his given the wretched period United are enduring just now. It's not of his making directly, but the lack of upturn usually associated with the arrival of a new manager, particularly one as highly regarded as the former Sporting coach, has been surprising. The unwillingness to deviate from a 3-man backline and some curious midfield selections have contributed to a lack of progress. But Slot made sure he didn't add to the pile on for a team who United legend Gary Neville labelled pound for pound the worst in the country during their 2-0 loss to Newcastle United on Monday. On the contrary, Slot was complimentary to United and Amarim in general, with the head coach remarking, "I think you always worry a bit as a manager when you start at a new club. Not if you come in, but if you are still at the same club next summer, you are asking where you are exactly in pre-season, and maybe even a bit more if come into a new club with the challenges of changing the playing style when you don't have the time to train on the pitch as much as you'd like." I think, for every manager, that is not the ideal world. But the good thing is he has quality players, and he will find a way to make it work. Hopefully not on Sunday, but he has already shown it a few times, for example Manchester City away and some other games when the results didn't go their way, but the performance wasn't as bad as the results showed. They are able to make it difficult for any team at the moment. The unwillingness to throw a jab in the direction of the club with whom his own has its most fierce rivalry was in keeping with the sort of personality that has won over so many supporters since he breezed through the door over the summer. But the patting of the head and rubbing of the belly also shows just how far apart the two sides are now. Slot doesn't need to rattle the cage of a United squad who are already hurting, and he knows it is counterproductive to say anything inflammatory that might give a squad sapped of confidence something to rage against when they come across the M62 this weekend. Kill them with kindness instead. The man himself would probably never let on, but it would be fascinating to know how much of such pleasantries are genuine and how much is talked up to lull into a false sense of security. The Liverpool boss does not immediately strike as someone who indulges in the fabled mind games that managers of this fixture have done at times over the years, but comments made before the 6-3 demolition of Tottenham last month were instructive. Slot was at pains to stress how much he admired Ange Postecoglou's unwavering commitment to an adventurous, front-footed approach. And when the Spurs boss did exactly that 2 days later, Liverpool ran riot, delivering the sort of blistering attacking performance that would have made Slot's opposite number green with envy. Is Slot doing the same here? Is he really fearful of a wounded United striking a huge blow to the Reds' title hopes? Or is it actually a way of ensuring there is no additional motivation for a team at their lowest ebb for quite some time just now? Slot is surely too respectful to give you his most uncompromising take on a downtrodden United who arrive on Merseyside in shambles, but you can bet your last pound that the cop will on Sunday afternoon. It's time to show the world exactly why there are more points between them than the total amassed by United. Ruben Amarim might head to Anfield this weekend with a sense of what might have been. The Portuguese coach takes his struggling Manchester United team to Merseyside on Sunday. The Red Devils have lost their last 4 games, with the former Sporting Lisbon boss already under huge pressure. The same cannot quite be said of Liverpool boss Arneslot, who has the Reds sitting pretty at the top of the Premier League and the clear favourites to claim the title. It begs the question whether the same would have happened had the Merseysiders followed up on their interest in Amarim. The 39-year-old was identified as one of the front-runners for their managerial vacancy following Jurgen Klopp's exit. And he looked to be a fantastic candidate, given the excellent work he had done with Braga and Sporting Lisbon. He had the reputation as one of the most promising young managers in Europe, so a swoop was certainly exciting. Unfortunately for Amarim, he lost out to Slot after Liverpool agreed compensation with his former club Feyenoord. And there was a very good reason for Liverpool going in a different direction: disagreements over his tactics. Amarim has long been wedded to his 3-4-3 approach. And while that is somewhat valid given the success he enjoyed with his former clubs, Liverpool wanted more tactical flexibility. And they have got exactly that with Slot, who has taken the 4-2-3-1 employed by predecessor Klopp, with only slight differences. Meanwhile, Amarim's reliance on his ideology has already become a major talking point at Old Trafford. But the Portuguese is determined to stick by his tactical approach. Maybe, or you continue with your idea and they have to change the coach, he said recently. I was here because of my idea, and I will continue to do my idea until the end. It would not be beyond the realms of possibility to suggest that there would have been similar teething issues for Amarim at Anfield should he had become Liverpool boss. The Reds would have required a complete tactical reset, and that would have seen some of their brightest stars this season potentially struggle to have the same impact. Ryan Gravenberch has thrived in a more deep-lying role this term, a position that might not have been afforded to him under Amarim. Meanwhile, Cody Gakpo has shone on the left, but may not have been handed that position by the Portuguese. Amarim may also have required heavy investment in the transfer market to acquire players to fit into his system. Slot in the meantime has been frugal. Federicochiesa and Georgi Mamardashvili the only signings he has made so far. But all of those decisions are now elementary, given Amarim is now the man who will be trying to get the better of Slot when it comes to his tactics, and while he might have a sense of what might have been before the game, he is now forced to focus on what currently is.